Hi Libra. May is a very, very particular month for you. I'm sorry this is a little bit late, but we'll get straight into the astrology. Venus, of course, your ruler, is going retrograde, and it's going retrograde in a fellow air sign. There are so many energies that are going to be complementing you. Venus is one of them. Even though your ruler is going into retrograde, we have Venus, we have Saturn, we have the Sun moving into an air sign. The new moon at the end of the month will be in an air sign. Mercury will be in an air sign, and you are going through quite a transformation of the mind, but it is in harmony with who you are. It's complementary to you. The Venus in Gemini saga is going to be one that shows you where your philosophies on love could do a little bit of tweaking. Justice, your card. Where you could balance out a few things, where you could iron out a few behaviours that, while you would not care to admit, may be a little unfair, or where people may be being a little bit unfair to you. Justice comes straight to the mind whenever your ruler is in your 9th house. Of philosophy, of law, of justice, 6 of Swords. And you have a few things you'd like to iron out. If you are on bad terms with anybody through disagreement or conflict, I think you're probably going to really revisit that during Venus retrograde. If somebody did you wrong, you equally are going to revisit that during Venus retrograde. If there is something that needs to be ironed out, straightened out, sentenced, prosecuted, whatever it is, legal affairs, time to get them in order, especially if they're with a fire sign or somebody who has quite a spark about them. You're going to want to solve that, and the only way to solve it, believe it or not, Libra, rather than laying down the law, is by using that air sign energy to appear kind of detached, kind of lighthearted about it. Why so serious? Mercury and Gemini will help you. But let us not forget that this is a retrograde, 7 of Cups. And if you are planning to move into something quite quickly with a fire sign, just be mindful that Venus retrograde can confuse us, and it can especially confuse you. Things that should be smooth sailing aren't always. Stuff from the past pops up. People from the past pop up, be it in our dreams, be it in our heads. What's that meme? You block them on absolutely every social media outlet going, and they still appear in your dreams. You can't block them there. So, a lot of stuff is coming back up for you. And you know what? Interestingly, on a specific point, a lot of people from your university years, your school years, may pop up with you. Saturn goes retrograde in your romantic sector. People from the past will pop up, especially if you didn't learn the lesson, especially if there's bad karma there. Oh, but it will. Saturn in Aquarius will bring back exes for you. It will bring back past relationships, experiences, situationships. Yes, could be dealing with an Aries or a Scorpio from the past specifically. But, very much with a Scorpio or a water sign, a Pisces or a Cancer. Very interesting for you guys. Okay, so Saturn has some karma laid out for you. Maybe you did something bad. Maybe they did something bad. Maybe there is, of course, with justice. Justice is so good for karma. It's all about balancing that energy out. And if you did something wrong, perhaps you get the opportunity to apologize. You feel a lot better for it, and you can move forward from it. Perhaps it's apologizing for your part in things, because as a Libra, you know that things are rarely split down the middle, and balance is rarely achieved. And if you would like somebody to apologize to you, particularly if it's a fire sign or a water sign, I think you're going to get it. And I think it's going to make you very happy. 10 of Cups. If you've been indecisive, If you've been indecisive, right, okay. Where you've been indecisive about a water sign or a fire sign, I think you get very, very, very clear, and I think it's a really good thing. If there's been a bit of back and forth with a water sign, particularly a Scorpio, I think that is indeed a good thing. 10 of Cups, there's not much arguing with that. 6 of Wands underneath, that's pretty successful. I think a lot of Libras are going to have successful reconciliations and reunions with people from their past, be it friendships, be it family, be it love. But I think as well, for a lot of you, if there has been troubled relationships with either an Aries person, somebody who's a lot older or a lot younger than you, could be a parent-child dynamic. I think for a lot of you it's a father, where there's been confusion, where there's been hurt feelings, where you've never quite felt like you were enough, maybe, or where you felt like you were walking on eggshells, or where you felt there was even relationships with really strong power dynamics, real control. I feel like you're getting your power back. I feel like you're getting your control back. And you know what, Libra? It's making you so much softer. It's making you so much more in touch with your emotions surrounding where you feel powerful and powerless. And I think for a lot of Libras, particularly ones with heavy aspects of Scorpio in your chart, or heavy aspects of Virgo, your neighbouring signs, I think a lot of you are finding that you have had some control issues surrounding love, surrounding the way you love, what makes you feel safe. And I think you've had to take quite a lot of time to figure that out. And I'm not saying that that process is by any means over, because Saturn retrograding through your love sector and then re-entering towards the end of the year is going to put a lot of focus on what you've learned about love, a lot of focus on what you've learned about yourself. Jupiter retrograding in Capricorn, though, in your family sector, is telling you that an inner child dynamic needs to be acknowledged, and in particular a relationship with your father needs to be acknowledged. Perhaps he's in denial of something, or perhaps you are very much missing a father figure, and there's some communication that really clears that. Perhaps you had to stick up for yourself in an unhealthy dynamic, or a dynamic where you felt you had no power, and you realize that you can have power there. You do have power there, that nobody externally from yourself can take that from you. And in work, though things may seem very confusing regarding money or regarding career, I think a lot of you are shaping to realize that you could probably do very, very well on your own. And that maybe you have a long-term goal that is so much more than where you've been or what you've been doing. For a lot of you that are in the law, that are doing law degrees with justice here, I think that it has been quite a journey for you in some ways, and there is an accolade you feel like you're missing, a closure you feel like you're missing. But I think where you're standing right now feels very, very uncertain for you. But it will be good. It will be fruitful. And it will give you a lot of power. And it will give you a lot of control. The Gemini season coming up is going to give you a radical shift in your ideologies. And that's not to say that you will be extreme about them. Extremity is not something we associate with your sign. But it's saying that you will begin to see other perspectives. And if you're dealing with a water sign, much needed perspectives. To see things from a different viewpoint. To see things from a different standpoint. And perhaps for a lot of you that are reconciling with lovers past, it seems to be because there was a lack of understanding. There was never a lack of emotion. There was never a lack of connection. But I think for a lot of you, you were in relationships where there was so much fear. Possibly a lot of jealousy. Judgment's very jealous. The Emperor is very jealous. And perhaps one person wanted to control the other. And you didn't know whether or not you were dealing with a snake, a lover, a rose, a flame, ice. You didn't know quite what it was that was in that cup, what was being offered to you. And I think Venus retrograde wants you to see where maybe you could have been a little bit more clear yourself. But nonetheless, I'm very content with what's come up for you. 10 of Cups. I think indecision, I think the back and forth that you've been doing for a few months to a year about whether or not to make the move on something or someone is all coming very clear to you. And I think that provided you do it honestly and you're not putting your energy into someone who was dishonest or lied, I think a lot of you could be doing very, very, very well in love despite the retrogrades. Again, with this lovely energy, I don't think you should waste it on people that lied to you. And if you have lied to other people and you're sincere about an apology there, I think you could really reconnect with people. And again, I'm really thinking there are a lot of friendships that you'd need to reconnect with. And it could be quite stable. So, I will see you in the extended. Take care, Libra.